My motto is that I want to be positive. I want to be positive for my kids. I want to be positive for my friends. And I don't want to wallow in this sorrow.
This is a story of my friend, a wife, a mom, a sister, an athlete, an entertainment dynamo, a veteran movie producer, a brilliant storyteller, a kind and compassionate soul. This is the story my friend Suzy would love to tell you herself, but at this very minute, the words don't come out the same way that they once did.
I've always been an outdoor person. I love running, I love biking. The more I can be outside and just have total freedom is the best day of my lives. So I went to UCLA and I ran for UCLA.
Suzy Bishop was once one heck of an athlete. She barely, and I mean barely, missed the cut to compete in the 1984 Summer Olympics. I mean, this was a woman determined to do anything that she set out to do.
And then I decided that I wanted to be in the entertainment business. So no matter what I was going to do, I was going to be in the entertainment business, period. I was in Hollywood. I went to Hallmark Hall of Fame.
Suzy produced and ran the productions for dozens of TV movies. And I mean, she worked with the likes of Sidney Poitier, Burt Lancaster, Farrah Fawcett.
Suze was this big executive producer. And so I would go to her sets and I just was like, oh my God, I felt like I was with a famous person. It's like, seriously, I'd get to walk behind the scenes and, you know, I'd see all these famous people.
And then I had my kids as well. And they traveled all over the country or in the world with me, which wasn't easy.
Oh, well, it was hard to do. I mean, after 25 years, Suzy hung up her producing hat and they moved to Northern California, where she took on a new role with the title of full-time mom. Her boys, Braden and Hunter, well, they have this very early love of baseball.
We'd go and get wiffle balls, just Braden and I. And for hours and hours and hours, he wouldn't let me go.
Growing up and her walking me to the park with my little brother and, you know, throwing us wiffle balls and baseballs, you know, and telling us from an early age how to hit it. You know, the fact that she even knew it was unbelievable, but, you know, that definitely was something she instilled in me, you know, just, you know, from a young age to love the game, to have fun.
So you've got Suzy, who's the ultimate competitor. She's driven, and year after year, the kids keep playing ball. Through high school, into college, Braden becomes a minor league outfielder in the Seattle Mariners organization. Hunter heads off to play at Arizona State. It's truly one of those great All-American success stories. But that producer bug in Suzy was itching to come out of retirement. I met Suzy at a birthday party for a friend of ours who was celebrating her 50th. And we got into this deep conversation, Suzy and I, about a halftime in life and how we both had this background in film and in production, and we wanted to start doing things that made a difference. And mattered. Mm-hmm. And so we did our first short documentary together, which was on human trafficking, and it was very powerful. We felt really good about From Hell to Heaven. We know that we helped people. We were able to show the best of human spirit in the most horrendous of human circumstances. And Suzy loved it. I loved it. We loved working together. She wanted to do more, I wanted to do more. But little did we both know that this would be our next project together. And I'm pretty certain that this will be Suzy's last film project. This was Suzy just a few months ago.
Because all the movies, people are always like, oh, what movie did you go to? I don't even remember. I mean, I know it's there and I did it and everything, but it's hard.
Who were some of the actors you remember working with?
Pente, the one that I won the Emmy. See, that's when I get frustrated. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I don't even remember that. I would say that I lost it.
It's okay.
I know. I was really a mom that was always there, and boom, 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 and so much fun, and all of a sudden, it was gone, just like that. I am 54 years old, and I have Alzheimer's, early onset of Alzheimer's, which is very unusual. The early onset of Alzheimer's is from what I know, is very different than regular Alzheimer's. And obviously, I'm pretty darn, young to have this disease. So it needs to get out there. The thing that makes me the saddest is that my mind is not as quick, and two, it's just so frustrating. That's probably one of the biggest things with Alzheimer's. It's so frustrating because I know who I was and I'm not able to accomplish what I used to at all. It kind of eased in a way that was like, okay, well, we can handle this, but after that it seemed to be kind of bumpy because everything's so different. The relationships, my kids and how they interact with me. Still loving, but there's an emptiness.
My daughter was the first to acknowledge it, where she was doing a summer internship with Suzy. And she came home and she just made a comment, how can Suzy be this big producer? Because she's very disorganized and very disconnected. And I just, blew it off. I didn't think anything of it.
It all began to click for her sister Sherry on a family trip to Hawaii.
She would do random things like leave the refrigerator door open, the car door open, and she was very concerned about where everything was that she had in her suitcase. And if anything would be out of her suitcase, it would you could just tell her mind was just all scattered.
We tried over and over to tell doctors that this is what we felt. And each and every step of the way, for probably a good year, maybe more, they had said, no, that's not possible. She definitely doesn't have Alzheimer's. Everything that they threw out was because she's so in shape. She's always been a runner. She's always eaten well. No way did she have Alzheimer's. And then it got to the point where we went and saw one doctor at Stanford finally and convinced him, because of the continued symptoms, that there was something going on. It wasn't normal. That was a diagnosis where he said, you definitely have Alzheimer's. We're sorry it took this long.
Yeah, I can remember I was sitting on my couch in my apartment in Seattle. It was after practice. I was making dinner. I can just remember feeling like I got hit by a Mack truck. It was something that I wasn't expecting. It was something I didn't want to accept.
I don't really have the words to describe how bad the struggle was to have the doctors believe in the fact that a 50-year-old woman could have Alzheimer's.
To hear that and to know what she was going to go through, and how it was going to change our family, that was something that really affected me.
In the last couple months, I've really seen a big change. The other day I came over and Suze couldn't figure out how to plug the blender in to make her shake. And she was frustrated, and she had the phone charger in, and so she couldn't differentiate the phone charger from the blender.
It's this way. Where? This way? This car? Oh.
she went to get into my side of the car again, and I said, Suze, that side. And I said, what does your brain think when you're doing this? And she said, it just tells me to go to your side of the car. And I go, well, tell it not to. And she goes, I can't. It's like, she goes, it's stubborn. It just tells me to go to this side.
Stubborn. I mean, as we're talking about stubborn, is it stubborn?
Stubborn.
Oh, stubborn. Tell me again.
You know, the disease itself causes so many changes, not only to Suzy, but to the boys and to me, really to the whole family. It affects the house, it affects her friends, it really affects a lot of people. And, you know, as I've come to learn, the disease, it strikes in several ways. You know, it could take recognition first, it could take cognition first, or both. Eventually it does take both. So in this case, we go day by day and deal with whatever issues come up.
Like, I would say yesterday, maybe even a few days, I had so many people calling me, and it's really hard for me. I mean, I love my friends, but a lot of time they are just so full of love that I don't even know what to do, and then I get frustrated.
Here you have a great communicator, a brilliant storyteller who's forgotten how to get into a car or how to make a simple snack, plug in a blender, let alone right now at this moment to be able to tell her story, what she wants to say. I mean, it's in there, but as every day passes, less and less comes out. When Suzy and I first started having conversations about what she was facing, she would talk about how she wanted people to be aware of this disease, almost putting a face to what early onset Alzheimer's is and open up a conversation. You know, she felt like, yes, it does rob you of certain things, and she would talk about all the love and kindness that she has. She still talks about the love and kindness that is in her life. And it's kind of become like her message, what she wants to get out there. It's all about the love and kindness.
I think people just need to be open and resilient and brave.
I think in a way, just the fact that Suzy has opened herself up for the world to see, to catch a glimpse at what early onset does, she actually has created and told her most brilliant story yet. And it's up to all of us what we do from here that's really going to matter the most.
You know, it's really an ugly disease, but people need to dive more into that and realize it is ugly. So you know what? We need to find ways to get money to the right people and continue on that fight.
That fight may have actually started within the Bishop household. I mean, remember all those baseball practices? It was Braden's turn to do something for Mom.
For Mom started back when I was in college. You know, when I found out that she was diagnosed with the disease, it was important to me to try and make a difference in her life, be a light to a dark situation.
Oh, now that's better. Go. No!
Braden has been organizing events and walkathons and getting the name of this little-known disease out there. His teammates wear For Mom on their arms, first at the University of Washington, and then when he's gone on to the Mariners farm teams.
It totally exceeded our expectations, how many people wanted to come out and support it, and my whole entire team came out.
So instead of keeping this in the dark, her family members are putting themselves out there for the whole world to get on board.
Look, this is a disease that is one I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, and it tears people apart. So, you know, I think if people just could take a minute and realize how they could support one another and support others that have this disease, or the caretakers, you know, the caretakers suffer just as much. And so it's really all encompassing. So the For Mom Foundation and movement and mission is real, and we will stop at nothing to continue that.
If we all do something, there'll come a time when someone like Suzy isn't going through this at the age of 54 or at the age of 60 or 70 or beyond.
Honestly, I seriously feel like I'm a 66-year-old a lot of the times. But what are you going to do? You can laugh, you can just, you know, giggle.
Suzy would bring her notes to our production meetings for this film. And I have to tell you, that sharp producer's mind came through many times with great ideas. And I discovered that she would write her most important thoughts on these pieces of paper. Well, the ability to spell has been taken away. But there's one word, no matter how it's spelled, it's her favorite word of all.
I always go back to laughter. I mean, that's the funniest one. I mean, just look at me. I had no idea this ever would happen to me. Always strive for more and love and happiness.